Hey everybody, we are live. No dancing for me this week because Lucy said that's only funny once. But thanks for joining us today. This is Mike Quinn, Hire Military, and Lucy Robinson, our Senior Director of Talent Acquisition. Thanks for coming along, Lucy.
Thank you very much, Mike.
And thanks for putting up with me. Hey, if you are tuning in, I got to ask you a favor. Please say hi or say thank you to Lucy for putting this on, because if she doesn't see comments, it kind of jams up and makes her feel awkward, makes it hard for her to get into the energy of the program. So Lucy, before we start, what's the weather like up there in northern Alaska?
Central Alaska, the interior of Alaska. I'm not quite at the Arctic Circle. The weather here today, Michael, is a balmy 26 degrees this morning at 10 o'clock. It's going to be about 45 later. And breakup season is definitely in progress here. It is so exciting. I'm very happy.
Breakup season? Does that mean like family members, like spouses?
Up.
Oh, I thought you meant like, and then the sun's out, so now everybody goes out to the club and breaks out.
Like PCS season, breakup season. No, it's when all the snow melts, and ordinarily we have just puddles and it's awful everywhere. But because we've had no major snow this year, and the sun is out early, it's wonderful. It's absolutely amazing. It makes everybody so much happier.
Absolutely balmy. I love it. Well, thank you, Lucy. We're so glad. We're excited to get to your jobs. But if you're joining us right now, why don't you go ahead and let us know what you're looking for? If you're a job seeker, drop in the comment what you're looking for and ideally where. Don't just say project management, please. Talk about an industry or a type of role, or at least give us a location. Try to dial it in, because afterwards, Lucy and a bunch of other recruiters will go through and look and see if there's anything that would fit with you. Now, I see that we've got Amber tuning in as well. You can always reach out and connect with Amber or Lucy. Don't connect with me. I'm already at about 30,000. I really can't accept them. I'd like to, before we get started, I'd like to talk about a couple topics that I normally talk about with Lucy on our LinkedIn audios. But since we're doing these on the regular now, you get the benefit of seeing us while we talk about them. So the first thing I want to talk about is the forgotten art of the thank you note. And I have no idea why this is a forgotten art. But here's my take. If someone invests time or effort into you, right? Let's say somebody holds the door open for you when you walk into a store. You probably say thank you, right? Or thanks, or you nod at them and say thanks. If you drop something and somebody picks it up and hands it to you, you say thanks. But for some reason in our community, if someone spends 30 minutes to an hour talking about potential career, the transition, making introductions, answering questions, we don't say thanks. And I don't know what happened. I think it's because we're accustomed to intrusive leadership in the military, where it is expected that a leader will invest in you, but that's not the same way out here. Out here, if someone puts time and effort into you, you should say thank you. Often, not just once, right? And so the next part of this is the thank you note, the way you really stand out. If someone really invested in you, or if you went through an interview process, even if you didn't get selected, it takes a minute or two afterwards. Just send a quick thank you note, right? So you went through an interview process, you talked to a hiring manager, maybe 30 minutes to an hour later, you send a quick note. Hey, Michael, it was great, really great talking to you. I'm really excited about the opportunity to hire military. Thank you for your time and interest. If you have any questions whatsoever, send me a note. Thanks again. Best, Mike. Like, super simple, easy, quick. Here's the deal. When you send those thank you notes, or if you send them via LinkedIn, what you're doing is you're putting your name across them again in a positive light. You're showing that you have EQ, and you are memorializing that conversation, meaning that if you reach out again in the future, or if they reach out, you have that email. And so anytime a year down the road, you reach out, if you have that email and you respond to that, boom, it's not a cold call. They remember who you are. Oh, that's that smart person that sends thank you notes. I like them, right? But, for some reason it doesn't happen. And then my ultra cheat code is, if you really want to stand out, because we don't mail things anymore, nobody's in the office, you write it out on a piece of paper, or you get a little thank you note, a box of thank you cards, and a Hallmark. You write out the thank you note, with your hand and a pen, and then you take a picture of it and you email it to the person with a thank you, just a little note to say thanks. And it just, I mean, a minute or two of your time and you make a huge difference. Lucy, what are your thoughts?
I couldn't agree with you more. It just makes you feel acknowledged. It makes you feel like the time that you gave, because it's often voluntary time outside of our working hours, maybe creeps in even into our family time, has been received gratefully. And it's just also nice to know that when you do make encouraging remarks or suggestions or advice to people, that they take it away and they action it and you hear back. It hasn't just gone into the ether, that the time that you have spent with them has been valuable in the sense that it's helped them, or it may not have helped them, but at least the acknowledgement, and they can give you that update back. I do tend to get, especially after interviews these days, it's unusual for me not to get a thank you note. I don't always respond to them. I take a stance dependent on each individual role, whether I say thank you or not. And it really does depend. I either do all or nothing. So not one candidate gets a different approach to the others. Generally depends on the time that we have, but I really appreciate it. And like you said, it sits in my LinkedIn DMs. So if that person comes back to me again in the future, I remember them, and it just gives me that brain tick, like, oh yeah, that's how we connected last time. So a huge supporter and great believer in them.
And you could take that to when you go to an event or a hiring fair or anything else like that. You connect with people there. The next morning, you go to My Network Connections. They're in chronological order. The last X number of people are all people you met at the event. Hey, Lucy, it was really great meeting you at Burbiz in the MGM National Harbor yesterday. Loved the conversation and, appreciate your support. And then you've memorialized that you actually met face to face. So just some little tricks and trades and ways to just build relationships and show that you're interested in more than a transactional relationship. Now, the other thing we have before we get into the questions was called Answer the Beep Question, right?
Yes.
So I love this one. Answer the DAMN question. And so, Lucy, I'll leave this one over to you.
I mean, if you seriously want to elevate any interview that you are in, take it from a seasoned recruiter who has performed so many interviews. It's unbelievable. If you just answer the question that has been asked of you, you will be light years ahead, probably, of your competition. And that sounds so ridiculous and so basic. And when I said this to Mike about 20 minutes ago, he laughed at me and said, "What do you mean? What are you talking about? Answer the question." Because in interviews, we ask questions, as an example, describe a time. Tell me about a time. When were you in a situation that? And what we're actually asking you is to describe a time. Tell us about a certain circumstance or instance where you did this, not where the team did it, where you did this. We want the detail. And if you're not familiar, just look up the STAR acronym, because it really will, in a handy dandy way, set this out for you. And if you use the STAR acronym and answer the question and describe the specific time, you will just beat your competition out of the water, because 9 times out of 10, people respond with hypotheticals. Oh, if I was in this situation, I would do this. That's no, that's not what I asked. And, we glaze over, because at that point, we're like, you haven't listened to what I said. So therefore, are you going to be a good teammate? Are you going to listen to what we say in the future? And let me just share a little bit about that with you. An interview is about identifying whether you face-to-face have got the skills and experience, but it's also all of that non-verbal behavior that we are, for want of a better word, checking off or testing to see and to identify whether you would be a good person to work with us or a good person to work with an organization that we are supporting. So I really wholly subscribe to what Mike said and the language that he used. Please just answer the question. Thanks. That's my TED Talk today.
And I'll just add 2 quick ads. One, practice, right? Mm-hmm. Don't do like I did my first dream job interview and go in there shooting air pistols thinking I can explain anything. Mm-hmm. You're going to fail miserably like I did. So get on LinkedIn, go to the interview prep tool. So all you do is click the jobs tab, interview prep, 26 most common questions. If you go through those and practice, there's tips. It's free for everyone. There's videos to watch. And then you actually record yourself. You click practice, record yourself answering the question. And then when you get one you like, you send it to a mentor and let them give you feedback. I mean, there's no reason that you should not be prepared for interviews except for, I hate to say it, a lack of effort.
Yeah.
Or you've expanded your aperture into so many fields that you can't prepare because you're trying to answer too many different questions. But if you pick one general path and you have a group of mentors in that field and you practice and prepare, the interview is not that difficult. At that point, it's not just you struggling to answer their questions. It's a give and take because you're also, as a candidate, trying to decide if you want to work there. So that's our 2 tips for today. And I think, Lucy, I'm going to turn it over to you for some jobs, right?
Yeah, let's get going. So, as we share our roles today, there's a couple of things that I wanted to draw your attention to. First of all, Mike has been shy and remiss in telling you guys that on April the 18th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, he will be delivering the next Mastering LinkedIn and Building a Personal Brand webinar through the USO Transitions Program. We can share the link to that in our chat afterwards. But if you are looking for additional support in terms of how to use LinkedIn for the original intent that it was created as a social platform to network, to connect, to find people for your job search, that is 2 hours of your time that I promise you won't want back. And even in the company, we've been to that webinar time and time again. The second thing is, before you ever make any application, please do yourself a favor. Go onto our website, hiremilitary.us, and take a look at our job seeker resources. On there, we have got a great piece that Olivia and I wrote together, and it is how to target your resume. You will hear that a lot from recruiters. You will hear that a lot as you are on your job search journey. I hugely recommend and encourage you to do it, but it's very easy for us to say that, but it's another thing to know how to do it. So we've broken that down for you to show you, here's the job description, here's a indicative resume, and how to put the 2 of them together. And it really just will strengthen any application that you make on paper and make you more of a competitive candidate. But as we get going, as we share the roles, please do consider if you're interested in anything that we mention, don't just put interested in the chat. As much as we want to know that you're interested, tell us the job title and even the location, because we come back after the event to share URLs to give you the detail for the role. Or you can be a motivated job searcher and go straight to hiremilitary.us and take a look at our careers pages. We have had a couple of questions as we've been chatting today. I know that Krista is in the chat answering those, but if you have any further ones, please do drop them in the comments and we will answer when we can. So we're going to get started. Hire Military is a brand of a parent company called Tenova. And Tenova at present has a couple of vacancies supporting the US Army TAP program. So if you've ever thought, oh, I'd like to work in transition, I'd like to support that, then let me tell you which roles I am recruiting at the moment. We have an admin specialist position at Fort Carson in Colorado. We also have a transition counselor working at Hunter Army Airfield in Georgia. So if you would like to learn more about those roles, drop a comment here or take a look at our website, and we would love to see your application in support of those. Second of all, what have we got? We are working with a woman-owned small business in the GovCon space, and they have some roles at Buckley Space Force Base, again in Colorado, so Aurora, Colorado. And the one specifically that we are really searching for a great skilled candidate is operations research analyst. You do need to have a top secret clearance for this role, and you really do need to have worked in missile defense, either in the DoD or ideally in the Air Force or Space Force previously, in operational test and evaluation test design, analysis, and test reporting in operational environments. I more or less understand wave tops of that, but if you've done that before, that will sing to your soul. You will know what I'm talking about. So if you have that type of experience, do connect with me or do let us know, because we would love to share that role with you. Mike and I have been working with one of our clients now for a couple of years. They are known as one of the big 4 consulting firms globally. You can think Deloitte, PwC, EY, KPMG, PwC. And we currently have manager and senior manager level roles supporting one of their long-term contracts working on the Army Audit Readiness Program. The majority of these roles are paying between about 90 and 120K. In the DC area, they are remote hybrid, so kind of on-site, off-site, either Arlington, Tyson's Corner, Crystal City, that kind of area. So normally 2 days on-site, 3 days at home. You do need to have specific qualifications to be considered, but really and ideally, a background in Army audit readiness or that realm really does help that. So if you are interested in hearing more about those roles, connect with us or connect with me, and I can share more detail there. The third role we have on the direct hire side today is a VP role, so Vice President of Data Management and Governance. This is working for a global insurance company. Now, ideally, they would like a Charlotte, North Carolina-based candidate, but in a perfect world, they know that that may not happen. So if you can connect into Midtown New York City, Jersey City, or Wilton, Connecticut, they have got a position for you. So we are looking for the ideal candidate that can develop and drive the enterprise data quality and metadata management. Metadata is extremely important in this, as is working on Calibra previously. They're looking for somebody with at least 10 years experience in this field, as well as data governance and data quality, with about 8 years minimum of leadership experience. Ideally, also, you will have 5 years experience in the financial services or insurance industry as well. So this is definitely more of a role for a veteran rather than a transitioning service member. But if you feel like you have the skill set that could align with this, do connect and we can take a look at the job description and see if you would be a great fit. I can share that with you. So those are the wave tops when it comes to direct hire. We have 60 roles that we're advertising at the moment and that we are working on. So don't just think, oh, they've shared 3 roles, Colorado, DC, not for me, no thanks, on to the next week. Our roles change on a daily basis. We are always adding new positions on our website, but we shared the biggest, the greatest, the newest ones that we are more closely working on right now. So take a look. If there's also nothing there for you right now, what you can do is you can add yourself to our talent pipeline. That's essentially registering your interest so that if any roles come up in the future, we can email you about them. We also send regular email updates on our comings and goings and the events and the roles that we have. So that is our talent pipeline, and that is on our website, hiremilitary.us. On the SkillBridge side, we have a couple of roles that we wanted to share with you today. Hey, Mike, before I go on, and because I've been monologuing for a little bit, why don't you explain who SkillBridge is open and eligible to?
Okay, well, SkillBridge is open to transitioning military during their last 180 days of service. The SkillBridge internship, you can do an internship, apprenticeship, OJT, job shadowing, or training. Programs are typically 3 to 4 months in duration. They have to start and finish during your last 180 days of service. And they will require service dependent, typically the first commander with UCMJ authority to approve it. So ideally, usually 04 or 05 level can approve whether you are going to be authorized to participate in SkillBridge. They can be either around your installation or anywhere in the country. So we've had SkillBridge interns come from Okinawa to do a SkillBridge internship back in the United States and hit the ground running on a nice transition. So I will tell you, if you are a commander or a senior leader in an organization, supporting your service members transition with a SkillBridge opportunity is life-changing. And it's not just changing their lives, it's also changing the future of recruiting, right? So the best recruiter in the world is a well-transitioned service member. And if you give someone a great transition experience, they get out, they find a great job, they tell their whole family how much the military took care of them and everybody should join. Like, you build trust. It's the people that get told no and then are like flipping rocks for 4 months, or they're not allowed to take their terminal leave, that get out and say, don't ever join. So we just have to keep in mind that our responsibility to our teammates extends beyond their separation date. And the SkillBridge, while balancing the requirements of the mission, I'm not ever going to tell commanders not to do that. You absolutely have to balance the requirements of the mission against the needs of the service member. If you can let someone go, it makes a huge difference. Over to you, Lucy.
Saying,
Everything's
oh,
back.
we're doing this. And as you were doing this, I was reading the comments where you guys were making fun of me and my language. What would you do without me keeping you entertained all day, every day?
Are you not
So,
entertained?
so on the SkillBridge side, what I did want to share with you is if you have or want to create your own SkillBridge internship opportunity, Hire Military can support that. We can host that on your behalf. So if you are talking to a company, but they are not already registered with the DoD to deliver and host a SkillBridge internship, have a chat with us and let us see what we can do for you, because more likely than not, we'll be able to support it and help you on your way. But in the meantime, a new role that we have just taken, it's so new that we don't have it on our website right now, is an IT help desk role in Dallas, Texas. You do need to be available to start in August. That is an August start position. And so that's unusual for our roles. Ordinarily, you can start based on your eligibility and availability, but that is an IT help desk role in Dallas, Texas. Second of all, we are working really closely with a phenomenal organization called Job Air Group. And they are seeking, in terms of SkillBridge, either A&P licensed or aircraft mechanics, or actually, if you don't have any experience in this realm, on this world at all, but you've got an avid interest and you're technically inclined, they also want to hear from you. Locations being Mobile, Alabama, Pensacola, Florida, Everett, Washington State, Kansas City, Missouri. And on the A&P side, they have all of those locations, as well as Oklahoma City and San Antonio, Texas. You will need to have commercial or military experience working with airframes. And on the A&P side, you will need to have that license. If you don't have any experience at all, but have got a motivation and appetite to go into it, connect with either me or Amber Pitkin, and we will definitely be able to have a conversation with you. Before we got on here today, Mike and I were talking about the news in Baltimore this morning. And if you haven't seen, check it out. The bridge collapse, it's awful. But we have a construction project manager working with a new client of ours called TrueBuilt, based in the Baltimore Beltway area. They are a commercial construction company looking for a construction project manager. So you will have project management experience from the military, ideally 5 or 6 years, and some kind of, construction experience, trades, mechanically inclined, that kind of person. And they're really looking for a key player to join their expanding team. And you have really the autonomy to shape your own success story there. It is a small business and they are looking to grow, and this role will be integral in that growth. You will be overseeing projects, building and leading your team, contributing to the growth and the build out, but also they are looking for somebody who is not afraid to roll their sleeves up and actually do the job as well. So it's kind of like the best of all worlds, and really get to start in a business as it grows and expands and be, an initial part of that. So a really phenomenal opportunity there. In addition, a couple of other requirements that I would love to share with you today are with companies that we work quite closely with. One is Acuity International. If you loved your time downrange and really want to go back to Iraq or Somalia, can't think of anything better than doing that, definitely connect with us, because we have opportunities for veterans in those two countries to fulfill various positions in security, intel analysis, and medical technology. Now, representatives from Acuity will be joining us on one of these in the next month or so they'll be able to tell their story. It's not a quick recruitment. It can take 6 to 12 months to get you onboarded, just because of the hoops that needed to be jumped through to be able to go back downrange and to get there. However, it is an awesome opportunity for those who are looking for a year to 2 years type of fixed term contract and have the ability to jump on a plane and to go back. So if that's of interest to you, connect with us here, or you can take a look on our website, because all of those roles are posted. Mike, why don't you share a little bit about our wonderful friends at Veteran Service Brands and their opportunity?
Can I just add that none of this was planned? She says, Mike, why don't you share it? I'm like, oh, crap. What is she going to ask me? So Veteran Service Brands, amazing company, CEO and founder, Jack Child, just a great human being, created a 4 franchise companies that all work together. Lucy and I went down to their annual event in January in Clearwater, Florida, and were blown away. And we'd already loved them. So basically, veteran service brands are franchises that are not expensive to buy into, and they have ways that they can help cover that. There's different programs you can apply for that are all have to be owned by a veteran. So they have to be owned by a veteran. They've got parking lot striping, G-Force brands, which sounds kind of silly, but I remember talking about how the different tiers of people, how much sales they had over the previous year. And I know what their margins are. So I was like, oh my God, I need to buy a G-Force brands franchise. And then I remembered I don't like being outside and getting dirty. So that was off. But you've got G-Force brands, parking lot striping. You've got PaintCore, which is painting houses and commercial. They do an amazing job. You've got Field Athletics. So they're doing lining athletic fields. And then you've got epoxy floors, which I've really loved watching the videos and talking about how they make these epoxy floors that have a lifetime guarantee. And they're like sparkly and clean. And it's like one of those videos you watch and you just kind of zone out and you feel comfortable. But I can't say it enough. If you are considering being a business owner, you're considering about doing something different where you get to chart your own path, you get to work as hard as you want to make as much money as you want, then I would consider checking out veteran service brands and seeing if any of their franchises will work for you. I was blown away talking to each and every one of those owners, and I had a couple tell me at the end of their first year that veteran service brands changed their lives. So, and they were dead serious. So definitely, I wouldn't say this if I didn't believe it. Check them out.
100% agree. We both had drunk that Kool-Aid. They just were so impressive. And the last opportunity I wanted to share with you today, Olivia and our marketing team says I say this wrong all the time, so I'm really going to try, Olivia. I'm trying. Floribama. If you feel like retirement is taking you to the panhandle of Florida and you just want to work in a beach bar, you want to work in hospitality, ops management, or a shuttle driver or server, you name it, they have positions for you, either in Orange Beach, Alabama, or Perdido Key, Florida. And I say Floribama because that is the name of the beach bar and the company. They have got opportunities for you. So if that looks like something you would love to do this summer, definitely check out our website because we have a couple of roles there as well. And honestly, right now, I know, look at that smile on his face.
I mean, I would have so much fun.
Oh my God.
At a beach bar in Floribama, like talking to everyone, sunblock everywhere, like beach hats in the shade. As long as I'm in the shade, I'm usually okay. But oh my God, how much fun would that be?
You'd need one of those parasols, like stuff.
No, just one of the normal hats. But I like lube up with the sunblock multiple times. So it just sounds like so much fun.
That sounds like so much fun, especially right now. Oh, the weather's 29 degrees here in Alaska.
Just make sure you tell the Floribama people that if we place someone there, I'm gonna have to come down and check it out.
Yeah, client visit, absolutely. Free cocktails on them. Anyway, it has been an absolute pleasure to join you today. Thank you so much for spending time with us. From Mike and I, thank you, and we will be back again next Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time for another Hot Jobs with us here at Higher Military. Take care. Bye-bye.